I'm Cinnamon Cooney, the Art Sherpa, and I am so excited to be able to show you how to paint this fabulous, easy painting, the Chains of Love. This is perfect for a beginner. If you haven't painted in a long time, I'm going to show you every single step of the process, every material, so you can duplicate this at home and have this up on your wall today. So get your paint, get your brushes, and come back and meet me here. I'll tell you what these easy materials are right now. Let's go. Over here in our materials lounge, we have white paint. This is titanium white fluid paint. Guess what? Craft paint will work if you can't get that. I have carbon black fluid paint, but any black craft paint will work if you can get that. And of course, I have my favorite, cadmium red medium. But any red you have, any color you have on this project will work. You can use your favorite color. I have round sponges for pouncing for the bokeh, a chalk pencil, but kids chalk will work, a nail tool, folded paper towels for a straight edge. I have a number 4 bright, a number 8 bright, a detail brush for signing, a 2-inch stiff white nylon, and a splatter brush. That is all you need to start this painting. Let's get going. We're going to start out by taking this number 2 brush and just getting it a little bit wet in water, just so that it's a little bit moistened. And I'm going to try to make a gray streak. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to pull a little white out and a little black out. And you're going to notice that it takes very little of the black paint to make a pretty dark gray. It's not it's not black, but it's a mid-tone gray. I'm going to take it to my canvas and I'm going to just go up and down, painting the whole canvas in this streaky mid-gray. A lot of times I will just grab white paint on my brush and I'm going to allow this to be streaky. New painters sometimes will paint this too dark, so my success tip for you is to go lighter than maybe you think. You can see where I'm at, that I'm more often grabbing the white than the black, and that's how I'm keeping my background from over darkening. Trying to keep these brush strokes vertical, pulling out the paint, pulling out the paint. A little more white. This is very easy. You can do this. You're going to have a painting on your wall today. I'm going to show you a really easy way to make a bokeh effect. That's the kind of bubble lighting that you sometimes see in photographs right now, and you can do that in paint in a super simple way. Let me show you how. Over here I have what's called a pouncer. Pouncers are little round sponges that you can dab into your paint. It's pretty easy, it's pretty fun. The technique is to just sort of get it in your paint like this. See what I'm doing? I'm going to get a little black on there so it's a little bit gray. Twirled, you can see the load. Pretty easy. I'm going to take it to my canvas. I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to pounce my canvas, which is to press in and twirl. Press in and twirl. On pouncers, my little success tip on that is that it's a good idea if you guys have a variety of sizes in the styles of pouncers that you get. You can find pouncers at any craft store, and they're really not very expensive. So they're a fun tool, and I've even known people that cut out their own. So feel like you can be handy. I'm going to get a little more white on my sponge. You can see that I'm pressing and twirling. It doesn't seem like a lot of paint on there, but then when I go press in, we have a good amount, and it leaves that nice sort of bubble effect. And I like that a lot, especially with the chandelier we're going to be putting in. Now, it's important to wash these out immediately after. I'm going to have mine in water. And that will keep them being good for you for a long, long time. I like to get different sizes. I'm going to put this one a little more in the black than the white. See, it's just a slightly smaller size. And you can see there that the paint is still sort of on it. Look at that. It's a lot the sizing that really helps me. See, I'm just putting little sizes in there. All right? Different sizes. Now, one of the things I'm going to want to do is I think I'm going to want to make sure that right there in the center, I've got kind of a focal black point that's center to off center, maybe coming off the top of my canvas. I'm going to twirl it and make sure this one is maybe more clear. That becomes the top of my chandelier actually later. And so that's an important one to get. And it doesn't really matter the size. See, and I can repounce several times. Doesn't matter the size, you just want that sort of focal point there. Into the water we go because we don't want them to go. And I always like to do a smaller one. Finish off with a small bubble. Small reflection. This is a photography technique that a lot of artists like to do. I'm going to get more white. I want these little bubbles to just be lighter. Put some out here. I like to layer these dots over each other. Just have fun putting them in. And you can do these in a variety of colors. This technique goes way beyond a black and white technique. All right, let's dry this. And then we're going to paint in the next layer. It's going to be really fun. All right, now we get to lay in our hearts. We're going to paint them in a little darker than you might expect, and I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on how to get them framed and put exactly where you want them, and how to have a lot of success at doing your heart. So I'm going to pick out a brush that I want to use, and I'm going to show you how. So what I have here is a number 8 bright, and this is a good brush. This has a nice sharp edge and a synthetic firm filament, and that's what I like to use for my heavy body paint. I'm going to come over here and get the brush primed or a little bit wet, dragging off the extra water. And I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to take a little of my black paint over to my red and darken my red with it a little bit. I want my first layer of that heart to be a dark red. So if you compare those two, right, let's move this more central to what you guys can see. If you compare those two, you can see that it's just a shade or two darker than the red. So I'm mixing that around. I'm keeping that on the tip of my bristles, not going all the way up the brush. I'm going to come here directly down from this dot to about the center point. I'm going to do an interesting thing here, guys. I'm going to make as vertical of a line as my hand allows. This one doesn't have to be perfect. You can see it in relationship to my fingers. It's about 3 inches long. Then how I get my heart is I like to come off the top of my point and I come up, 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 make a mountain coming around, and then I join. And I'm going to do similar things on the other side. Now, thanks to wonderful craft art and other types of art, our hearts don't have to be perfect. And I think that that's true in life as well. We don't have to have perfect hearts. So I'm going to come up, 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 and then join down. See how that's very pretty? I've just primed with a little water to improve the flow of my paint. And I'm going to paint this all in with a solid coat of my darkened red. Now the hearts I want above this are going to be smaller, so I might have to get a smaller brush to paint them in. Here we go. It doesn't take very long to do. That's super fun, isn't it? Just make sure you have a nice edge. I use the edge of my brush when I'm coming around. That's all I've got to do. Paint that in. Put that in water, and I'm going to get a slightly smaller brush for my smaller hearts. Oh, this is a nice small brush. This is a number 4 bright. I love a number 4 bright. It does a lot of great detail work. So I'm going to place a couple more hearts into my composition. I'm going to need a little more of this darkened red. Right here, I'm going to make a vertical line. This one's going to be shorter. It's going to be about 1.5 to 2 inches. And I'll make one right here too. Compositionally a little bit to the right and down, but maybe a slightly different height than this heart. And that's what I'm looking to do, is give myself some different heights on my hearts so that my chains can be interesting going off the canvas. Those chains of love, I've got to make those fascinating. So I'm painting this in, I'm filling this in with the first coat of darkened red paint. This is what's going to make my red, whatever red I'm using, whatever red you're using, having a dark layer and then a bright layer will help it pop. So let's put one up a little higher and smaller than its friend. Just a little bit right here, perhaps. We make it a little higher and a little smaller. We still want to give it some room for a little bit of chain. And that's all it takes. Don't worry about them being perfectly symmetrical, perfect anything. These are hearts. Hearts are imperfect. All right. So what I'm going to want that to do is dry, and I'm going to speed that along with my hair dryer. So you can let it dry naturally or give it a little push. So once you have those dry, let's get that next layer of bright, bright, bright color, whether it's red or purple or yellow or blue or green, that bright, bright, bright color, pop there. So I'm going to get my number 8 bright out again. Right? You might have a number 6, you might have a number 10. They're all fine. And I'm going to get some just pure paint. Look at that. Write it like a bead on that brush. And I'm going to just, in a rough way, and you'll notice that I didn't prime with water, I'm creating this very rustic brush stroke around my heart. I'm not painting out all the dark underneath because I need these layers in this dry brushing to make this heart have the texture that's going to make it interesting. So you can see I'm leaving a lot of what's dark there underneath. And that's sort of true about a heart as well, isn't it? Now, I can go to a smaller brush if I think I need to for this, but I think I'm actually pretty good for this with my 8. And if I find that I'm wrong, I'll just change my mind. You can always do that in art. But since I'm not trying to, make the shape very specific, I'm just trying to dry brush this bright color on here. And then another little layer of bright color. You were doing yellow, that's what you'd be doing. You might even add a little white to your yellow to make it even brighter. But if you added white to your red, it would make it pink. All right, so once I have those in, guess what I have to do? I have to dry it again. Because I'm going to do the dotting and I'm going to want to be able to rest my hand on the canvas, I need to make sure this is really dry, or I'm going to drag paint and smear it everywhere. So here we are. I've got my piece dry and laid flat. I've got my paint that I'm going to be doing my chains with. This is a very soft body fluid paint. A good exchange is like craft paint, any of those paints. You just want something that picks up well like that on your dot tool. So I've got my nail dot tool and I have a charcoal pencil. But what I want is just something I can draw lightly on the canvas with. And I'm going to use a paper towel to help me create a straight edge, straight line for my chain that's going to be coming down into the heart as a guide. See, I'm just guiding that in. I'll put one there. See, I can line the top of the paper towel up and use this sharp edge. People don't think about it, but paper towels have a really good edge. And what I'm trying to do is have straight lines from the top of my canvas going down. I don't want the hearts to be swinging. You could use kids' chalk here. You could use all kinds of things. And remember, you can sharpen kids' chalk. So this is going to feel like it's coming off the chandelier. I'm going to want at least one chain curving in a swag across the top of my canvas. So I'll draw that in. And then I'm going to want one chain to come down, swooping really low, 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 and swerve off the canvas. It's coming down low, 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 low. And then I need a mid chain, and that's what's going to really make it feel like a chandelier is this third one. I'm going to go like this. Bring this mid chain off. It's a lot of dotting, but dotting is actually a lot of fun, so that's no problem. So I've got my dot tool and my paint. I'm going to work from the left-hand side to the right-hand side, mostly because I drag paint. And I'm going to just, let me really put this where you can see it. Just go in my paint and make dots. I'm doing it this way so you can see how often I am reloading. When I come to my chain here, I'll stop and then go again. You can do this with a toothpick if you don't have a nail tool. See how I did that? Happens all the time. I have to watch for that all the time. Or even the back of a brush. They have a nice point. You're just looking for something that will hold paint and lead a dot. I've seen people do it with a sharpened pencil. That's the #1 thing that gets me in trouble in my art is dragging paint. I'm not worried about some of them being big and some of them being small. I just want them to connect and feel like a really fun. Those are fine. They actually even add to it, I think. Super easy painting. Watch that you don't drag your wet paint. Super easy art project. So we put this on the easel and now we're ready to do the next 2 steps. Now the splatter step, I really want to tell you, is entirely optional. Splatter can be one of those things that's super exciting for new artists, but can also be super stressful. So here's an area where you're going to make your own creative decision about what's right for you, but I want to show you how to do it just in case you're interested in getting that kind of free-spirited artifact in your own art. My splatter stuff really is about having fluid or soft body paint. What that means is it's not very stiff, doesn't have a lot of polymer in it like this one, and it will splatter off a splattering brush like this or toothbrush or another brush really easily. I'm going to load this in my splatter brush and drag this around, and I'm going to just hold my breath and hope and make a couple of these fun splatters on my piece. Now that is fun and I love it. It is not necessarily good for granite or sometimes the fine decor in your house. So if you've decided not to do that, it's perfectly okay. I'm going to show you how to do the keyhole after we dry the painting. Now that your painting is dry, you can go ahead and add the keyhole. The keyhole is really simple. Anyone can do it. Let me show you how it's built. I'm going to get that #4 bright back out again, and I'm going to kind of wipe it off of extra water. I'm going to get my black paint, my solid black paint, and right here in the center of my heart, underneath the little point, I'm going to just make a little bit of a circle. Sometimes I like to make the circle by sort of twirling my brush, but however you want to do it, or you could switch to a round, it's all fine. You just want kind of a circle shape. Once your circle shape is in, you want to kind of make your little pendulum that swings down, makes room for the key, and comes up. That's all it takes to add a keyhole to your heart. I think it's also really nice to add a shadow to this and a highlight. So I'm going to get a little bit of white on my brush. And I'm going to come on the inside and I'm going to pretend the highlight is this direction. And just add that small highlight to the right-hand side. And you'll notice that gives your keyhole a little bit of a 3-dimensional look. That's all it takes. Now that you've painted Chains of Love, all that's left for you to do is to sign it. Now, I always like to sign my pieces in kind of a weird spot, but anywhere that makes you happy, on the back, on the front, or not at all, because in the end of the day, it's your painting, your world. And so you should do on your painting what makes you happy. It's your relaxed time. I'm going to show you how I sign it. I'm going to get a small, teeny tiny little detail brush that has a fine point, like this. And I'm going to get, I think in this case, I might actually get my white paint. And I'm going to come here and turn it on the side. I'm going to work sort of around these little drops. Because I want my signature to feel a little bit like the splatter. I think it's nice as an artist to think about how the signature impacts the piece. And some artists even like to think about whether they should be signing at all. So there really isn't a right or wrong. There's a right for you, and you should always listen to that. There we go. So right around that little bokeh ball, and it kind of feels like the splatter. I'm super happy with that. I hope you found this to be a great, romantic, fun painting. Remember, you can do this in any size, any color. This is totally your painting, so it's completely okay for you to change things up and have a little fun with it. I want you to be good to yourselves, kind to yourselves, and keep arting. I'll see you at the easel really soon.